that? What the f... Let's run it back. Hey.
Oh my goodness!
It's me, back with another weekly upload. Now, okay. I know that I gotta stop. Alright? Okay. I swear I will post for the next 2 days. On top of this, I promise, I swear to it, on my life, I will post for 2 days. I promise you, okay? I need to get at least 3 days in a row. Enjoy the video. If you haven't, please subscribe. I'm posting more, I promise. So, I promise to post. Yes, I'm sorry, okay? Okay. So this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be voiceovering my game because the game was pretty hard, so I didn't really talk very much. So I'm just going to add in stuff, talk about the game while I'm destroying all these bosses. So for people who don't know, this game's called Hollow Knight. It's famous for being made by like 2 people, literally like 2 people made this game. And it's pretty difficult. These bosses at the beginning are pretty easy, but what I'm doing here is called the Pantheon of Hallownest. It's essentially a boss rush where you fight all the bosses in the game back to back to back, and at the end you get the really big boys, like the really hard guys, the guys you have to like practice for hours and hours on end. But like these bosses right now, like Ruz Mother, you know, I beat this boss first try in the normal game, right? But it took me like 3 hours to beat Pure Vessel, or more than, you know. But if there was a game I had to suggest to anyone, it'd be 100% this game. Right now it's like $7.50 on Steam. The company is a good company. Its name is Team Cherry. Like I said, it was made by 2 people. They have 3 people on their team. One of them's for advertising is why I say that. But I'll mention a couple of things I do here, like Dream Nailing False Knight. When we get to Failed Champion, I'll show you a little trick that you can do too. But as you can tell, these bosses are pretty easy. At least at the beginning. So this is actually the last achievement I had to do. Surprisingly, there are more people who have done the Pantheon of Hallownest than beaten the game on Steel Soul, which Steel Soul is a mode where if you die, it's over, the run's over, which actually really surprised me because Steel Soul was not near as hard as doing this Pantheon of Hallownest. So on screen right now is the easiest boss in the game for this reason. You can just have him be knocked back, and that's literally the entire boss fight. So like I said, these easier bosses are, you know, pretty easy. So for people who haven't skipped ahead already, I think the next video is going to be Risk of Rain 2. I'm really liking the game, almost too much, but I don't know what it's going to be on. I already beat the game on Monsoon with Casey, so, but yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna say it again, because, actually, is this,
That was fast.
Never mind. If you want to play a game, and want to get, a game that is not very expensive, but you could spend many hours in, this is your game. It's difficult to an extent, but not like,
Where is he?
like, anywhere near like Dark Souls or something crazy like that. It's fun. It's an exploration game. It's really cool, like, honestly. So this is actually one of my least favorite bosses in the entire game. He's just really annoying, and you're forced to play it slow, and it's kind of annoying, but it really isn't too bad. There's actually quite a bit of lore in this game. This guy isn't technically a bad guy, although he thinks you are originally. That's why you fight him. But
Easy
So
enough.
I could be wrong, but I believe this is a spring room. Could be wrong, or like a resting room. Oh no. Soul Warrior is the second easiest boss in the game. To be honest, he really shouldn't even be a boss. He appears in the game, like the normal game, like 4 times, and like he has no boss intro or anything. He just kind of appears and you fight him. And as you can tell here, he is not hard in the slightest. So he's kind of a joke boss because he shouldn't be a boss. There's actually an Easter egg that I learned about the other day. Not many people know who this is, but there's a character in the game named Tiso. He's kind of annoying or whatever, but if you talk to him enough, he spawns as an Easter egg in that boss fight. But I didn't do that. I was unaware of that. So I'd say that this boss is around top 10 material of difficulty. They're not really all too bad, but they're just you gotta focus on spacing. When I started Pantheons, they were pretty hard because they're not a boss fight you can fight in the normal game, only in the Pantheons. There's a couple of those, but there's actually like 7 of those. Winged Nosk, Sisters of Battle, all 3 Paint Masters, but there's 2 battles because these count as 2. And then Sly, and then Pure Vessel, and then Absolute Radiance. I think that's it though. Yeah, I won't really have trouble till we get to like Nightmare King Grim, but you can still appreciate it. Alright, so I'll explain the room that I'm going into now. This is a room where you have the option to change charms on the bench, but I don't change charms. I guess I can talk about my charms after this, but yeah, you heal here, you get extra health here, depending on, you know, if you do extra stuff. I didn't do a ton, so I only get 3 extra hearts. But, so I'll explain my charms real quick. Charms are just things in the game that give you buffs. So I have on Unbreakable Strength, which just increases my nail damage. My opinion, that's the best charm in the game. I have Quick Slash, which makes me attack faster, but just with my nail. I think that's the second best. And then I have Shaman Stone, which people would disagree with me, but I think that's actually the third best. Most people would say that's either the best or second, because spells are really broken in this game if you use them correctly, but I've always been just a nail guy, and I just usually just play aggressive and then just use soul to heal. You can't really do that on the harder boss fights because you don't have time to heal, so you just should use your spells instead. And it took me up until when I started practicing the very, very hardest boss in the game for me to realize, and I could have beat the game a lot faster if I were to know that. So so if you didn't hear it, I think the next video is going to be Risk of Rain 2. Still not sure what I'm going to be doing, but it's a good game. I might just start recording with the buddies and get some funny moments or something, just like I normally do. Should have been recording for the past couple of days anyways, but I've only recorded like 1 session.
Is that hitless? Dang.
That was hitless. Soul Master isn't all too difficult, so there are a couple bosses in the game that actually are relatively easy, but they're harder for a different reason. So you have the option to fight these bosses on an individual scale and just fight them individually, and when you beat them on the easiest difficulty, you unlock the next harder difficulty. I guess that's not true. If you beat them on the second hardest difficulty, you can fight them on the hardest. Now, on the hardest difficulty on any boss fight, any damage you take instantly kills you, no matter what. Now, this boss fight isn't hard, but it's difficult on that difficulty because it's very hard to do that boss fight with taking absolutely 0 damage. You basically always take 1 or 2 damage. In my opinion, this boss fight is probably the second most fun boss fight, and you'll see in a second why. So only in the 5th Pantheon does this happen. Normally you fight 2 Mantisaurs, but in the Pantheon of Hallownest, it changes the sister battles, and you fight all 3 of them, and it's much faster and more fun. Although I am not playing very well. You can actually beat this entire boss fight without touching the ground, because there's walls and spikes, and they come in so fast that you can pogo off of them. It's very fun. I've never done it. I think I've attempted it once. It wasn't too hard. Just a fun little challenge.
I missed.
I can't believe I missed that. So I know that there's gonna be a healing room after this, so I don't care much for healing, even though I think I don't. Never mind. Give a little bow to them at the end. So as you can tell, these beginning boss fights are pretty easy. But when you're in the normal game, it takes a while for them to beat them. Marmoom is just a really annoying boss fight. You basically play volleyball, but
I'd appreciate
this is where I wish I had Mark of Pride, which increases my nail distance.
Oh, well.
I took that off for Shaman Stone a couple runs ago.
My ears.
Now this boss fight is really hard if you don't have the spell I'm using right now. And if you do, then yeah, it's literally less than 10 seconds. Same thing with Umu, which is the jellyfish boss, which we'll get to in a second. I actually used to have a lot of trouble with the harder version of this boss, Lost Kin. No, it's not too bad. Sometimes I feel like this guy just like is coded to just piss you off. But we'll get to that in a second.
12 minutes, huh?
This guy's usually a hit or miss for me. Either I take like 3 damage, or I absolutely destroy
Missed
him.
it by 1. Oh, I should have healed. Oh well. Ooh, Paint Master Show, heal 1. Okay, good.
I actually think Paint Master Show is easier than the other Nail Masters. Once you learn his moves, he really isn't that bad. Wow.
Okay.
Give Paint Master Show a bow, and we're done.
Easy enough.
For how fast these bosses are going, I'm surprised this recording is this long. I mean, it makes sense if there's just so many bosses in the game, but still. It still surprises me. I actually have a lot of trouble with this boss, which is pretty surprising. Yeah, I do stuff like that where I'm a very aggressive player, so Yeah, I think I get hit by it.
God,
Yeah,
I
I get
lost a life to a bee. My guy.
Yeah, I remember that one. This is one of my least favorite boss fights in the game. It's way too easy, and he's just really annoying. Because he just disappears. He is one of the very, 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 very few bosses in this game that actually disappear off screen. Soul Master and Soul Tyrant are two of them. Nightmare King Grim is one of them, and those are the only ones I can honestly think of.
He's one. One. He was one. I was like,
I still have a life blood.
might want to turn down your sound for this one.
It's okay, I did it for you. I actually learned that this boss fight, people have trouble with this boss fight. I don't necessarily have trouble with this boss fight. If you don't have nail upgrades, then this boss fight is unbearably, annoyingly hard. But as long as you can one-shot the monsters that are coming out of the things falling from the roof, you should be fine.
Easy enough.
This is actually a favorite boss fight of mine. I just kind of like the idea of constantly pogoing on the boss.
Oh my!
Wow, that
I
was
knocked him into
bad.
it. Come on! I'm taking way too much damage from this fight. There we go.
Yeah, this boss fight's kind of interesting. You actually just have to kill the monster, and then his trainer dude or whatever, he just falls over and says, "Wow, I lost." So this is the easier version of Nightmare King Grim. This is Troop Master Grim. Every single attack that Grim has, Nightmare King Grim has, but it's harder and faster, and you know, all that. You'll see that in a second.
25.
But so I said 25 there if you missed it. When he does this balloon thing, that means that 25% of his health bar has been destroyed. So you hear me, I'll also say 50 and 75. It's just a reminder for me to remember how much health the guy has left. So I should say 50 here.
50.
I'll do the same thing in the Nightmare King Grim fight. I just like to, when I fought Nightmare King Grim, it took me a couple hours originally when I fought him. So it was just a little habit that I picked up, and I do the same thing on Grim because the same rule applies. So
I've never done that before. I've never gone over Grim or Nightmare King Grim on that attack in my life. 75%. That's kind of funny, actually. But
you should be low here. Couple more attacks.
he's one. He's so low. He's so low. Here it is. Here it is. I knew it. Woo! I don't think we're getting into interesting quite yet.
What I mean by interesting is Soul Tyrant, Failed Champion, NKG, which
Alright,
stands for
doesn't know.
Nightmare King Grim. Those are all the tough boss fights. So Watcher Knight is kind of a weird boss fight. It's like hard, but it's not like hard enough to worry about. Like if you were speedrunning the game, you have to beat this boss in order to get a Dreamer, which is something that you need to get any ending. You need to get all 3 Dreamers to get any ending on this game. And this is one of the two
Oh.
dreamers out of the sorry. This there are two dreamers in which you need to beat a boss in order to get to. And Watcher Knights is one of the two bosses. And to be totally honest, these guys, if you're not careful, you can kind of get destroyed. They are not an easy boss fight per se, but as you can see, they're not too terrible, especially if you have Ghost Dash is what I call it. I think it's called Shade Cloak and all these
That was a
spells
good
and all your
Watcher
nail
Knight.
upgrades.
Was that
You'll be
hitless? I don't even know. That was really good.
And ironically, this is the other boss
Oh, I don't
fight
need
that you need.
Whatever. That's fine.
This is Umu. Occasionally I call him Uwu because it's funny, but yeah, in the normal game, you defeat him in another way, but yeah. This boss fight's kind of annoying because you can't attack him unless you use these explosive jellyfish things. But I'm beating this boss pretty fast. I think it dies here, yeah.
Okay.
That was pretty easy. That one's really annoying because you have to wait. I just got a good RNG on that one. So, just like Sisters of
Winged
Battle,
Nos. Fun fact, I've only beaten this boss twice. If you wanted to be technical, this is the boss I've beaten the least by technicality.
and that is true.
Winged
The
Nos,
reason for
not
this-
normal Nos.
The reason for this is
What?
because
No
there is a
way.
normal Nosk in the game. However,
Oh my, I'm getting
Um,
bodied.
I am getting bodied. There is a normal Nost in the game, but on the 5th Pantheon, it changes into a bird or
You're
whatever.
alive.
And I've only gotten to this point twice before this point, and I never practiced Wing Nosk. That's why I'm getting absolutely destroyed. I didn't think Wing Nosk would be too bad. Apparently, I was incorrect.
You gotta be semi-low, right? No
I wouldn't know.
way.
I haven't beaten him enough.
Thank you. Oh my god. And I keep... Wow. That was bad. That was really bad.
That was, I think that's the most damage I've taken from
Oh,
a,
in
by
the
a boss.
slide. Wow. Oh, there's no way.
So, in my
Not
opinion,
with
this is a top 5 boss fight on difficulty. This guy's pretty hard. Took me about, I'd say 45 minutes just to be able to beat him consistently. So
What?
yeah, and that doesn't
Okay.
count the time I did the 3rd Pantheon, because he's the boss of the 3rd Pantheon. Wow, I'm getting destroyed. This phase of the boss fight's just kind of annoying. Once you learn it, it's not really all too bad. You hear the clacking in my controller.
Nice. That was a little rough there. Winged Nosk into Sly actually got me caught up a little bit. Oh, we're not done.
So I always
hard
forget the boss order once I get to this point in the run. So this is where I start sweating a little
What was
bit.
that?
Because you do not want to be this
Fine.
low.
One. Can you get staggered real quick? Stagger? Heal? That's big. let's get back to this. So this is pretty good right now. I haven't really worried about the most of the Pantheon. It's just the last two bosses, especially the final one. That's the only one I'm actually worried about. As you watch me destroy like that guy without any trouble. Loskin will give me a little bit of trouble.
So like I said earlier, this boss is the harder version of Broken Vessel, and that's why.
You're stacking.
His jumps are weirdly accurate, almost to be coded into like making it so he would hit you very consistently. He's very agile. He has a decent amount of health, but he can be staggered very quickly. So the whole point of this boss fight is generally to go fast so you can stagger him fast.
Missed it.
So you can just do an enormous amount of damage to him quickly. But I am not doing that right now. In fact, I'm getting destroyed.
Nice. Alright. Stupidest boss
So
fight
I said that Gore was my least favorite boss fight. I lied. This one is. So this boss doesn't actually attack you directly. These things just fly around and you have to go fight them, and you have to go find them and like attack them. It's pretty annoying, and yeah. It's just an annoying
That
boss
was pretty
fight.
good though. I only took one hit.
Trader Lord is one of those boss fights that it's difficult until you realize he has like literally 4 moves. And you can shade cloak through literally all of them as long as you know what you're doing.
Actually,
Although I'm surprised that
2 hits on Trader Lord. That's kind of rough.
yeah, I'm surprised I took 2 hits there. Usually I take either 1 or none. He's not too much trouble for me.
Oh shit, this is white defender, not dumb.
So this is where we get into the harder bosses. Trader Lord's kind of a difficult one. White Defender brings up some trouble, nothing crazy, but
Oh shit, that doesn't work, I forgot.
you gotta realize I've played through the game many times, so all these normal boss fights really aren't as hard as anything that I just haven't done, which is the last like
Really?
3 boss
that's
fights. I've actually beaten Nightmare King Grim on Radiant with not too much trouble, which is the 3rd hardest boss in the game. So yeah.
Alright, not too bad. Took a couple more hits than I would have liked on White Defender, but it doesn't matter. It's a... I think this is where we start getting into crazy stuff. Soul Tyrant, NKG, Markov, Failed Champion. No, we have... Yeah, this is a... Okay. Here we go.
So this is the harder version of Soul Master. He is very fast. He teleports constantly. Yeah. He has the same moves as Soul Master, which makes the boss fight easier. It's the same thing as Soul Warrior, Failed Champion. They have relatively the same moves. They're just, you know, they have more hitboxes and they're faster. So, yeah, nothing crazy. I actually haven't been hit yet, so.
Whew. I'll take the hit on that one.
If you can't tell, this is where I start sweating. But, yeah. Because I have to prepare for some crazy hard stuff.
Alright, I took 3 hits, I'll take it.
If I'm not
Almost
mistaken, it should be Markov next.
What am I going into? Fudge. Actually, full soul here is pretty big.
So Markov is one of those battles where he's not relatively insanely difficult. He's just really hard to hit. In the sense that he kind of has a offensive defense. That shield blocks attacks, yes, but it also does damage. And he has a second phase where he has 2 of them. That's why I mentioned having shield is kind of nice, and how I literally barely hit him.
You're alive?
I
was gonna
yeah,
say,
so I killed him before he.
I was very surprised he lived.
He could even get. He didn't even get another shield off. So I actually am not gonna lie. I kind of forgot about Grey Prince though. So Grey.
4th hardest boss in the game in my opinion.
I already said it, and this is the 4th hardest boss in the game. Now, some people would say this is probably the 3rd hardest boss in the game, but I think NKG is a little harder. This guy is very unpredictable. NKG has some really, really difficult moves to dodge, but they're very consistent. So once you learn how to dodge them, it becomes very easy. Grey Prince though is a lot more, yeah. He's literally jumping all over the place, doing random things, teleporting to the top of the stage, and you don't know if he'd run towards you, if he'll, yeah, it's kind of risky. I don't know if I do NKG hitless here, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's Failed Champion next, could be wrong.
This is good. We should have Failed Champion and then NKG. And then we'll have a Restroom and then Pure Vessel and then Absolute Radiance.
So Failed Champion is the harder version of the first boss that you fight as in the game. Normally. You don't have to fight him first, but... So I do this thing that you're going to see here in a second.
Oh, I missed. That's not very good. I'm going to take a hit here probably. Yep. Oh, that was a lot
So
faster.
normally, when you fight this boss...
Oh no! Alright, NKG is gonna have to be an insane boss fight.
Normally when you fight this boss,
Normally
and
is
when
for
he's
me,
staggered, if you don't hit him, he just gets up.
Oh,
The thing is that if you hit the top of his shell, he doesn't take any damage. But it resets the counter, which means you can just infinitely stall him and get full shield or full shells or masks. I mean,
Stalling 101.
and full soul. And you can even get soul after he's been attacked.
Never mind. We're going to an NKG full.
Very helpful tip
Here we
if you
go.
do this. If you struggle with
3
NKG.
fights left. Alright. And they're the 3 hardest bosses in the game. Let's do it. Let's do it. I got this.
So as you can tell right off the gate, this boss fight is much harder than Troop Master Grim. A lot faster, way more hitboxes. Oh, and by the way, each hit does 2 masks rather than 1. I said 25, he's at 25%. Or sorry, he's 25% of his health is gone. Really, I should say 75, but whatever. This is easily my my favorite boss fight in the game. I almost said most favorite. That was weird.
50%.
Very difficult. Took me about I don't know how many tries it took me, but it took me probably, I think, a couple hours, could be wrong. Like I said, originally learning this boss fight is very difficult, but once you learn all of his moves and you know what to do, he's very easy, because after every single attack he does, he disappears off screen and then he appears.
Ah, I almost did it hitless.
And based on what he looks like, you know what his attack's going to be, and you can react in about a half a second.
He's one.
So I know after this it's going to be a rest or a healing room, so I'm not too concerned because he's about to die.
Let's go. We got this. We can do this. We can do this. I believe in us.
So that means we only have 2 boss fights left. This is where it gets really crazy. We fight True Vessel into Absolute Radiance. Now the good thing about fighting True Vessel in this is that I have 3 extra masks and full soul going into it. When I practice against True Vessel and Absolute Radiance,
beyond this door is the 2 hardest bosses in a row. Pure Vessel and Absolute Radiance.
to be honest, I do like this boss fight. It's pretty hard. It reminds me of the sweat I put into this back when I really wanted to finish this up. It didn't take me as long to practice True Vessel as it did Absolute Radiance because, well, Absolute Radiance I knew it was going to take me a long time anyways, but back when I was fighting True Vessel, trying to do the 4th Pantheon, I wanted to complete the game relatively fast. So, I will say I've taken too many hits, but I think we'll be okay. I would know. This is a voiceover.
Nah, that hit me. Couple hits. He's one. No way.
It would take me an hour to explain all of his moves and how to fight against them. Literally an hour.
It is.
So here I think I assume that I don't have any soul left, but that's not true.
Oh, this is not good. I do not have the hearts for this. Or masks. I do not have the health for this. Alright, we got this.
This is the final boss fight. I think I'm going to end the voiceover and you guys can just watch. So enjoy.
We got this. I dodged. Okay. Fine. Whatever. Can you stop it with this attack? Please? Oh my god. This isn't good. This is actually very bad. No way. First phase is done. but will have no soul. Come on, we got this. Four. That was big. He's already up. We got this. This is a win. This is a win. This is the best I've ever had it. Even in training. It's okay. That's fine. One hit. One nail hit. I did it. I did it. I did it. Holy crap. I popped off. Holy crap, I popped off. I popped off. Woo. Delicate flower pog.